Hey everybody! AFC Northerners, and here broadcasting live from Rocco's Tavern. Go to roccostavern.com, check out more, and let's go ahead and get these introductions out of the way, starting down the line.
Hey, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengal fan on Twitter, repping the Bengals.
Dave Green, Browns guy.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah.
Browns guy.
Jen David Sutan, Ravens.
One win to talk about.
Gabriel Velati, Steelers country.
There you go.
All right, so let's go on right.
Hey, good week for the Bengals, not just because of the way our game turned out, but because of the way some other teams' games turned out. Dalton played very well, and Tez was unbelievable. You're looking at a play right here where you just see this burst off the line and him getting in the backfield. Yeah, I mean, you think about what would have been the first three games had he been on the field. Jekyll and Hyde game for A.J. Green. Great first quarter. You can all go on Bengals.com and see his long touchdown. You're looking here at the play where he fumbled the ball after. It was a hard hit, but he fumbled the ball, and you could see he was in the red zone. And then the next play you're looking at here, A.J. Green is hit right in the breadbasket. Dalton throws a perfect pass, and it ricochets off his stomach and off his fingertips into the Bills. I mean, the only reason this game was close was because of those two turnovers. Otherwise, we would have run away with it. But overall, the Jekyll and Hyde, he did come through in the fourth quarter. We did have a scoring drive where we stretched the lead to 4 points, and Mixon did get his first touchdown of the year, and we were able to close out the game. This is the first complete game by Cincinnati this season. We got the first downs, got the go-ahead score to stretch it to 4, and then forced Buffalo to use all their timeouts on defense. So first complete game of the year. Hated a lot of the red zone play calling, but I am happier with Bill Lazor in terms of he's calling plays that fit the player's strengths rather than trying to force his game plan onto players that doesn't necessarily fit their skill set. And my biggest complaint is, why the fuck are we still giving touches to Jeremy Hill? Every touch Jeremy Hill gets is a touch that Mixon or Gio isn't getting. So I don't understand. Are we trying to posture to trade this guy? This guy should not be getting this many touches in the game. So stop that. And on a down note, Tyler Boyd did strain his MCL and is out for the next few weeks. But with the Steelers playing back to us by losing to Jacksonville, we're now in a position to where we can equal them. Even if they win in Kansas City this week, we can equal them in the loss column. So it was a great week for the Bengals. We're getting right back into the thick of things, a game behind the Ravens and the Steelers. So, hoo-day! Woo! Go on, brother.
All right, well, Browns lost again, 17-14. I'm going to put it like this. This, I think, was the turning point. They had the ball. The Jets had the ball inside the 10. It was 3rd and 2, early fourth quarter, and McCown rolled out, finds Tomlinson, picks up a huge gainer. The Jets go on down the field, score, makes it 10-7 at that point. We were in the lead. The defense just kind of choked one out right there. They played stellar defense all game long. We outplayed the Jets. We should have came away with a W. We have trouble scoring. Passing inside the 20, handing off inside the 20. Kaiser just wasn't getting it done. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. I just want to talk about Myles Garrett real quick. Did not disappoint. The hype was real. This is the reason why we didn't take Deshaun Watson, who I still think is way overrated. Myles Garrett right here, it is his second sack of the game. It's an awareness sack. It's unbelievable. It was a great play. And his first sack was his first play of the game, first play of his career, and he just blew up the center and dropped him. That's all I got right now for the Browns. It's just a garbage game to watch. Kaiser was 8 of 17 for 87, no touchdowns, 1 pick, and we'll discuss a little bit more about that in a little bit. Yep.
All right, moving on to Ravens. So I want to talk about 3 different specific plays. There's a lot to also look at with this whole game. I mean, obviously, I went in there thinking like, all right, well, we haven't really showed much on offense. Our offensive line wasn't really great in the last 2 games, and we've had ball carrying problems. And man, if that didn't change completely, within 5-6 minutes of the first quarter, you had 14 points on the board, which is interesting. Also, for the Ravens, have had 0 lead changes the entire season. No, the changes in the game hasn't changed at all from beginning to end. So straight off, 52-yard bomb right here. You're seeing it to Wallace, one of the first drives of the game. Just brilliant catch. Everybody's always saying like Mike Wallace, one trick pony, but yeah, he keeps going down for those long bombs whenever he ever.
And that's his one trick.
Well, now
Yeah,
it's
but
two.
when it works, it's still a trick.
It's still a trick.
That's why he's got a contract and he's playing.
So the beautiful play here. This other play that I want to talk about right here is Jimmy Smith. This beautiful fumble recovery for a touchdown, just coming back. And this brings me to a great point that I saw is that our you look at this and our secondary is great, but our edge setters are having a really hard time making things happen. Kafusi wound up taken out. We put in Wormley, and Wormley was amazing for us. What a great, just really genuinely like first season in the NFL, it just destroys right off the bat. You can definitely tell on the defense that Urban and Brandon Williams are very, very missed. Humphreys had a great game. It was really interesting watching like this game kind of unfold, especially with this last play that I want to show you. And this is watching Marlon Humphrey get beat by Michael Crabtree. Honestly, my favorite thing to say about this game is how great our O-line was. Ken McCusick talked to him earlier today, and that offensive line had a A+ rating all the way across. Really, really good. I'm really interested in seeing what Bobby Rainey does next week, if he even winds up doing anything. I don't know if we found the answer in Collins. I think that if he can keep securing the ball as he did in this game, we could have a much better run game. So, and moving on to Steelers.
Wait, hold on. I look forward to seeing Terrence West come back. I think West is going to be the guy right there.
I don't think,
I still
he's
think
injured
that,
right now.
and
so.
I think when he comes back, he's going to be the guy. Watch for Buck Allen. He keeps talking about Collins, and it's a nice guy. Nice
Buck Allen,
player,
though, here's the problem with Buck
just-
Allen is that he doesn't have the explosiveness that he needs, and when he's good at catching passes, but his carry.
This last week, he got all the goal line work there in that game, and he was the guy catching the ball out of the flat.
He was.
Like that just right there, that says something that they actually trust him more than they trust the other guys when it comes time to score.
I think they were
Just
still
wanted
trying to
say
establish. We're still trying to find the identity as far as who's going to be our number one RB. But I love
well,
Buck Allen.
it's because of Collins' fumbles.
Yeah.
Because he's had a
Oh,
fumble
yeah.
in every single game with he didn't have one.
He
in
didn't have one in the last
game,
game.
but in every other game that he's played, he's had a.
And also, he
he's had a
broke the
fumble.
interception streak for Flacco, so that's good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the trend continues where if you jump out ahead, you win games, and if you fall behind, you can't come back.
Well, like I
Because
said,
that's the no lead change.
Exactly, and
if that trend continues, that's a.
And that's what we're trying to find out. And we'll see that also against the Bears, who you lost to, so we'll pick right up with you.
Yeah.
Well, that was 2 weeks
as
ago.
of, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. So
I don't think
Jackson,
much has changed.
Oh, sure. Jacksonville this week, I've got to say, I completely underestimated their defense. They've got two young cornerbacks who are, by all efforts, amazing. Jacksonville's defense is actually looking really good this season. So I'm not surprised that we lost.
Well, I told you after our taking last week.
You did.
I
No,
said
you told me. But that's
underestimated
we'll talk about that. We can talk about that later.
We
but now
lost to
it's
the
time-
Jags in London. You lost to the Jags where?
at home.
Yeah.
So getting into the problems, and the problem is Ben this season. Ben has talked about in the past, and it was at the end of last season about retiring. And I honestly am starting to think that Ben is he's ready. I think Ben's actually ready no matter what he says, like no matter what he tells the media and everything. I honestly think Ben's ready. He's ready to spend time with his family. He's tired of getting sacked. He's tired of getting hurt. If you look back at most of the seasons in the past 3 years, he's been hurt at least once every season, and he's been out a few games. I think he's kind of done with it. And so if you watch some of the plays, Ben was getting the ball out quicker this time, but his field awareness wasn't as great as it usually is. So Ben just didn't look like he was really playing like Ben. And, our offensive line he got sacked, I think like 3 or 4 times this game. And also a credit to the Jags O-line. The Jags O-line really held up.
Leonard Fournette is no joke.
Well, they were able to open up holes for Leonard Fournette, and also it was hard for us to get to Blake Bortles. So they were able to open up some holes, and it mostly, even though he's a beast, the game what it really came down to was our offense.
Yep.
It was Ben throwing 5 picks, and that's my thing. I just think Ben isn't Ben anymore, and I'm not sure what the problem is. That's why I think he's actually ready for retirement. I think he's just playing under contract right now, and he's trying to just do as best as he can. Either that or I'm not sure. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in his head, so I don't know. I can't really sit here and say exactly what it is. But it's good to see. Bell catching his stride. Bell had a decent number of yards as well. He had the 2 touchdowns in this game. I just think, if it continues, I'm all for benching Ben and bringing out Dobbs and seeing what Dobbs can do. Like if Ben throws another 3-4 interceptions in the next 2 games against Kansas City and against Cincinnati, I'm not quite sure. But with that being said, our defense is young. It's up and coming. It's on the rise, and I really think our defense, we really have something with Kevin.
We can
Colbert.
touch on this more in the next game.
So, but other than that, that's all I really got.
Did you want to touch on any plays or anything like that?
Not really,
Okay.
because there wasn't a lot. The one play that I will touch on, I didn't send a clip or anything, was the first play of the Steelers, like when the Steelers got possession, when Ben threw the bomb down to Antonio Brown, which I think was like a 50-yard bomb. But after that, it was just kind of
cool. All right, so let's move on to this week's games. And you're on a bye.
We're on a bye week, so I'll talk just real briefly. Just elaborate on what Gabe was saying, is we're going to learn a lot about the Steelers in the next couple of weeks because you're playing 2 of the best defensive units in football. I mean, you're playing Kansas City this week, and Cincinnati, believe it or not, is a top 5 unit. They are the 2nd-ranked overall defense in points, yards, and one of the other categories, they're 15th against the run. But other than that, they're top 5 in all the other defensive categories. So we're really going to get an idea of where the Steelers are offensively when we square up in the next 2 weeks.
That's a brilliant point, because we played you first, and you were 15th against the run, and we did nothing but run and run and run on you. So that's really good, scouting on what you guys are capable of right in front. I just want to shout out to
but
the
we
Ravens
didn't
scouting.
have Tez back. We've had Tez back the last 2 weeks, and nobody's been able to run on us. Our defense has been stout, and even in the first 2 games, our defense only gave up 26 points. So over 2 games,
I get it.
They were playing good even
you didn't have the guy
Tez.
in, but it's always good whenever you sit there and go, okay, they didn't have this in. This is what we do.
Right.
That's
like I said, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot in the next couple weeks about the Steelers and the Bengals. Now, because of circumstance, these guys playing back to us, we can actually get the Steelers to equal us in the loss column with the win in Week 7. So we've got 2 weeks to prepare, and we're going to watch the Kansas City game and see what if this downslide of Ben continues. But the Steelers definitely look vulnerable. There's no question about it.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying we're going to win for sure, but we're feeling pretty good about the game in a couple weeks.
The Browns exposed Pittsburgh in Week 1, and now we're just seeing the end result of it. They're starting to unravel. But I'm not talking about those guys. I want to talk right here about last week's game. I'm going back to that. At the half, we switched out Kaiser for Hogan. It was, this is Hogan to Joku. This is what they said was the best catch of last week.
Yeah, it was a good catch.
And it put us up 7-3. Once again, the Browns, like I said before, we were in this game. We dominated them in every stat category. Hogan ended the half, or his half, at 16-19 for 194, the 2 touchdowns plus the 1 pick. I think that's why we're making the switch over to Hogan. That's why he's getting the start this week in Houston. I'm not too much worried about whether or not we get the W or don't get the W. I think we have a good chance at getting it, but I'm not going to jinx us. We've won 1 game, and I really don't expect to talk about another win coming up here against these guys. I'm going to predict the final on this Browns-Houston game in Houston, 23-18. Houston.
Okay.
23-18 Houston?
Yeah.
I actually think you guys might be able to pull this out.
Yeah.
I think
you know, Hogan moves the ball. We got Garrett back. Obviously, he is a game changer.
Yeah.
You got to see what he's quite capable of.
And
if we would have had him in Week 1 against Pittsburgh would have started the season out.
And they lost another defensive guy.
And Jabril Pepper, I think Jabril Pepper is going to be really interesting to watch going up against their rookie QB.
Well, we're completely healthy now coming into this. Collins has been cleared off the protocol. He's practicing this week. We got a couple of nicks and dings. Nothing major to none of the main cat. fuck. Maine Cats, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, whatever, fuck it. With the Browns, we finally made a quarterback change, so the season's begun. Let's get this rocking and
And Kaiser did say that he doesn't feel like he's lost Hugh's support. He understands that he needs to kind of step back and maybe learn. Maybe he comes back in a couple games and is a better starter.
That's what I think they're going to do. I think they're putting him on the bench, let him catch his breath.
Right.
At least he's not really beaming.
And then come on back in a couple of weeks. I think he really just needs to figure out what's going on inside the 20 when we're attempting to score. Like he was saying in the press conference on Tuesday, everything gets really tight and compact there, and he's just not making the right reads on it. So he needs a chance to breathe and take a look at what he's doing wrong down there to correct that. The kid's very intelligent.
How often was Hogan under center compared? Because I know that
quite often.
Was
a lot more than Kaiser.
Yeah, Kaiser hasn't really been under center hardly at all, right? Yeah.
Well, they're trying to give him a chance to see the field. So he's not rushed, but unfortunately the snap and all that, and from snap to throw, that's 3 to 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, with the defense being the way they are, that's way too long.
Way too long.
We
That's
ate
2
him
seconds
alive
long.
because he held the ball. It
Yep.
would be 4 or 5 seconds. You can't ask that out of your line.
All right, guys. So, you good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on to Ravens. We are playing at home against the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. The Bulls. So here's some things to look for. One is watch Trubisky. Trubisky is still trying to figure out like how he wants to play this game. He's a runner, so you have to make sure you kind of keep him contained within certain lanes. You also have to kind of like the wide receiver core of the Bears is pretty messed up right now. They're not in really good shape. And I'm looking to see what our secondary does to really shut that down even more. What we saw in the Bengals game, the first game of the season, where we were knocking down passes left and right out of Andy Dalton, I think we could see more of that. I think that you may see like the defensive line itself, like the front seven, really get up there and really try and like knock those passes out in order to force turnovers, interceptions, things like that. I think that also like we don't know. Without the wide receiver core that they should have, he's going to throw a lot of short passes, and that's kind of our weak spot. Like we're in those short little dumps, things like that. I mean, we saw with the shovel pass against Steelers, like those short little passes are what kind of kill us. So if they're able to just kind of chunk it and chunk it and chunk it, we could have some really long drives on our hands if we don't shake that up. They do have a huge problem at inside linebacker. They don't have really an answer there for it, so we legitimately could exploit that for the run. You can see a lot more of Collins and Buck Allen kind of going in through that. I'm honestly I'm not super worried about this game, but at the same time, I don't want to say that because trap games do happen. So my prediction on this game is 23-7 Ravens.
It's going to be coaching because they have a stout defensive line, and we saw that was a pretty 2-point conversion.
It was.
And that shows you coaching.
Yeah.
They set up, and if they design some plays, you don't have a lot of film on Trubisky.
They throw some looks.
If the coaches, John Fox and his coaching staff gets together and puts together some good plays, you can have your hands full because that defensive line will give you problems.
Yeah.
Fox is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Look at what they
Fox is
did
a
to
hell of a
Minnesota
coach.
on Monday night, and you know that defensive line can play.
All right. So we've got Kansas City this week in Arrowhead, and that's gonna be it's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah.
Especially because if any of you have been following Kansas City this year, Kansas City has been really doing a lot of trick plays. They've been doing a lot of stuff to try and confuse. Yeah, they're 5-0. They're going into week 6. Yeah, they're still 5-0.
They may be 6-0 at the end of the
We'll
season.
see. So don't count the Steelers out right now. It's
Not counting them out.
I would actually rather catch the Steelers off a win than a loss.
So
I would
basically,
like an emotional letdown. So.
what we're gonna with how our defense is playing, our defense I believe can keep us in any game this season. It's just the offense, the woes that we have on offense right now, and I honestly think the woes are stemming from Ben. I think that Ben needs to. I just don't know what to say about it. Bell is running well. We'll have to see how he does in this game. I'm not really sure what to watch for, but what I'd say to watch for really is watch for Shazier again this week. Shazier's been our powerhouse. Same with Timmons has really been stepping up. You've also got Hayward's been still doing an amazing job. You've got TJ Watt who's out there and he's starting to step up as well. So like I said, our defense is what's going to keep us in most of the games this season. I'm just interested to see what our offense is going to start doing. There's some sort of a disconnect on our offense, and it needs to be shored up, and whatever it is needs to happen in soon, or else we're not gonna make playoffs.
What would you say is right now the biggest thing on offense that they need to fix, and the biggest thing on defense? Like, just first thing off the top of your head on the offense.
Biggest thing on defense. Well, I'll start with defense. Biggest thing on defense is our run defense. Compared to what we were doing last season, our run defense is we're letting people go through in big chunks of yardage that we shouldn't be letting, and we were stopping teams in the red zone from getting touchdowns and making them get field goals last season, and we need to get back into that. So I think that's the thing that needs to,
And on offense?
On offense, it's the passing game. Honestly, it's Ben's overthrowing. It's Ben. It's honestly it's Ben.
So
if you watch those games, it's the problems are Ben. Ben's overthrowing. Ben's missing receivers. And it's been a big problem.
I couldn't agree with you more on both counts because number one, look at the Jacksonville drive where they held the ball and Blake Bortles never passed it. 14 straight run plays. You could not stop them. And that's about the run defense. Also, the same problem that Dalton had in weeks 1 and 2, Ben is having now. It's decision making. They're not seeing the field. And that actually goes back 2 weeks ago to when Antonio Brown was so upset. Going through the progression. Why is Antonio Brown number 3 in your progressions? Antonio Brown should have been the first place you looked, and he was the third.
The conspiracy theorist in me is like, is Ben intentionally not going to A-B?
No,
I don't think so. I think it's here's the thing. Here's my thought on that. My thought on that is, you've got a young guy as Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's good, and he's proving himself, and so Ben's trying to see who he's got on the field. So I understand why Brown in that point.
That's a valid point.
I understand why Brown at that point was not his first look, but he shouldn't have been the third look.
Right.
He should have been.
Right. It should have been 1, 2,
It should have been 1, 2. It should have been 1. Okay, I can't go here. Oh wait. Like Ben used to have that on field, and that's the worry, and that's what makes me think: is he just playing the play? Is he really giving a shit anymore, or is he just trying to play out this season so that way he can retire? Like, because I think he sees potential.
That would make him the most hated guy in Pittsburgh at the end of that season.
You can't fault the guy because you have a finite amount of years, and literally these guys you're talking about, if he's making $18 million, that's $1.5 million a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's playing one more season is $18 more million.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of money.
But that's also like a lot of money that could have gone to another player that's worth a damn.
Right.
So, all right. So your prediction?
My prediction. If the offense can get on track, I think it's going to be a close game. And if the offense can get on track, I'm going to go ahead and say 20-17. And I think Pittsburgh can pull this one out.
So you think Pittsburgh's going to win?
I think Pittsburgh can go 20-17. I think this is going to ride heavily on Bell this week. And the only reason I say it's going to be close and that we have any shot of winning is because of our defense. Because we've had at least one interception and one fumble in every game this season, and it's because our defense. I love Kevin Colbert. I think he's a great addition. Well, not a great addition. He's been with the team for decades now. I think 20 years or something like that. And I absolutely think that he was the right move. After letting LeBeau go, I think promoting him was the right move, and I think we're seeing that because I think eventually in the next year or 2, maybe 3, we're gonna see a return to the steel curtain. We just have to because right now our pass defense has gotten better this season. We just need to find that balance between our pass and our rush defense. That's it.
I just know KC circled this game because after the phantom holding penalty on Fisher in the playoff game, where they took away the 2-point conversion, I think that They've circled this date.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off here. But first, want to send out a shout out to again Rocco's Tavern.
Rocco's, thank you.
Thank you very
Great
much,
place to take in a
Rocco's.
game. Rocco's Tavern.
RoccosTavern.com. Also,
Yes.
want to send a shout out to superfanstyle.com. If you use the code AFC North 20, you can get 20% off your purchase. We are on all social media, Twitter at AFC Northerners, on Facebook with the AFC Northerners. We have our own Reddit, all that good stuff. But mostly what we really want from you is for you to comment. Like, we love talking to you. And every single person that comments, we're going to talk to you. We just love our fans, and we love fans of the game. So please feel free to, push this to your Bears fans, your Raiders fans who just lost, to any of the other NFL teams.
That'll reach out to them. Ha ha.
Yeah. I'm just a dick. So anyway, guys, that's it for us. We are going to see you next week. We're probably going to do individual updates for next week. In the meantime, we're going to sign off as we always do with
Fuck
the
the
Patriots
Texans.
and fuck the Bears. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
In the
guys.
city.
Go Tribe,
Later.
baby. Go Tribe.